did I get here? Huh?
Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. If you don't know me, my name is Jae. And for those of you who have never been on our podcast before, let me just introduce the show really quick. Welcome to How Did I Get Here, where we live our best lives on the internet and come out the other side knowing more, but not feeling all that much smarter. And we always ask this question every week, and we always are perplexed with the same answer. And it's that we actually don't know what that means. But in its core, that's what this podcast may actually be about. Not knowing things and just learning details and not knowing them even more. Because you know what they say, the more you learn about a subject, the more you understand that you don't. Blow. Blow. Hit me up.
He did.
He did hit me up. Blow is going to be on our podcast soon. I haven't called him Blow before this because of the fact that I had never had an interaction with him, and I felt like our level of acquaintance wasn't at the level where I could give him a nickname or call him by the pet name. But now I feel like Blow is a good way to address him, and Blow will be on our podcast sometime in the future when he's done with this album, hopefully soon, and hopefully that wasn't just etiquette. Anyway, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and leave a review. Check out youtube.com/divepods for full episodes. We've had a crazy couple weeks, and especially with Represent popping off, and we did absolutely phenomenal. For those of you who weren't aware of what was going on, I ran a campaign in coalition with the JED Foundation as well as Represent.com in order to release some merch called From Friends. Claps. And basically our campaign motto or our campaign was to extend a helping hand to whomever, wherever there's a need for such. And with that motto in mind, this specific campaign, we aimed it towards mental health and those who feel like they are in need of such. And for me personally, I decided to work with the JED Foundation, and thankfully they agreed to it due to the fact that I feel like our youth is our future. And the most important thing and the most effective way to change our future is to outline or to further educate our youth on certain topics so that they may be better qualified or better educated in order to make better educated decisions in the future. For my personal example, I feel like if I had been educated or if I had known more about the facts that surrounded the topic of anxiety or panic disorders, I feel like I would have been in a much better state than I am today. Not saying that I'm completely out of it and like my nuts are loose, but I just feel like I wouldn't have had to have gone through all the things that I have gone through mentally that have drained me extremely much. And in order to avoid a situation like that for other people in the future, I feel like this campaign was pivotal for me as a growing experience. And it could be a monumental change for someone that's younger, someone that could go through something similar to me. And that's about it. I don't want to talk about it too much, but that was the campaign, and it was, in my eyes, a major success. And I'm just so glad that we were able to make a change in the world.
I bought sweatpants.
Did you get them yet?
Nope.
Nice.
But you know what? It's just about being part of the movement.
The meat of today is...
Wait, hold on real quick. We got to acknowledge who's not here.
Oh yeah, I have been just so out of it with so many things going on in my life. But the other half of How Did I Get Here today is not here. AleXa is not present due to the fact that she came back.
Like music wise.
Yeah. I didn't know how to
She did not come back to the set here today, as you can all see. She came back to the music scene with new music.
So please go and check her out on all her socials. You need to go on her YouTube. You need to stream the songs. You need to stream the power, and to show her your support, because we all know everyone here at Dive is family. Especially when I'm coming back and Day 6 is coming back. We all know that we're especially family because everyone from all the other podcasts are definitely going to shout me out and play their music on their podcasts.
There we go.
Yep. So we're going to move into the meat of today without AleXa, unfortunately. That really sucks though, because having AleXa really felt, and it made me feel like the podcast was really moving smoothly.
Well, lucky for you, I'm here.
I think lucky is debatable.
What is it? Estoy aquí. I'm here.
What?
I am here. Estoy aquí. You're the one from Argentina.
What's estoy aquí?
I am here.
Estoy
aquí.
Aquí?
Yeah.
Porque sí.
Estás ahí. I am
You're
here.
making up words.
You are there.
All right, look, you're making up words.
Oh my mind.
All right. The topic of today is the power of names. Power of names. What could this mean? The power of names. I have no idea. So we're just going to jump into the straight up starting point, which is number 1, 7 ways your name affects your opportunities. Oh, for example, you can earn more if your name is shorter. Okay, let's jump into it first. People tend to stop caring about their names once they get past certain life landmarks. Getting teased for an unfortunate last name in high school, agonizing over a nickname in college, wondering if a spouse should change their name. After all, it's just a name, right? Wrong. Psychological studies have proved time after time that our names have a real impact on our physical, educational, and personal success. Interesting. Which is what makes the recent trend of bizarre baby names even more confusing. Many European surnames evolved from occupations: Glover, Baker, Smith, Abbott, Draper, and the plethora of first names that now exist are actually a pretty modern phenomenon, according to a BBC report. Until the 1800s, 50% of all male England shared the same 4 first names. They were most likely named after your parent or a common saint. Henry, Peter, Joseph?
So basically every 90s Korean American kid. They're all just Michaels, Johns,
Yes.
Lukes.
Yes.
Paul,
yes.
Peters.
I kind of like Luke though. Looking to celebrities and book characters for inspiration is a very modern preoccupation, as is wanting your kid to be different. As we'll discover, for some kids that can actually backfire pretty badly with far-reaching consequences for future education and success. You've got to be wise when naming your kid. True. As somebody who's named her cat Eglantine. What? Eglantine after Angela Lansbury's dignified but clumsy character in Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I'm not one to talk. But at least Eglantine will have to navigate preschool, college acceptance resumes, or changing their maiden name. What is a name as it turns out? Interesting. I named my Roomba. Oh, it was a very human name. I keep forgetting it because it was so complex.
It was a complex name?
Yeah.
Like arugula?
No. It wasn't. It was a very human name. It was a. Well,
it must have not have been very important.
I don't know. I can ask Stream again. I can ask my chat. But I named it on chat, and it was a great name. But I feel like if I were to ever have a pet, especially like a dog or a cat, I want to give them very, very human names. Like, name the dog Sally.
No, that's like
Josephine.
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Even more like plain.
Plain?
Like Sarah.
Sarah.
Kevin the cat.
Kevin the cat. Kevin the cat?
No disrespect to Kevin Wu, but
Kevin the cat. All disrespect to Kevin Wu. Kevin Wu. What's that guy been doing? What's he up to?
TikToking.
TikTok star. Number 1, you earn more if your name is shorter. Is there validity to this statement? Let's see. A large quantity of research has gone into what many adults worry about. Is their name holding them back from professional success? According to a survey done by an online job search site, perhaps. The top earning names for men among the site's 6 million members were Tom, Rob, Dale, Doug, and Wayne, while top earning women were called Lynn, Melissa, Kathy, Dana, and Christine. Seeing a pattern? Shorter and wider names, which we'll get into in a second, seem to be a key to a successful career. 5 letters, in fact, was the optimal length. Does that not sound like a stretch to you?
No, it's not. It's a real thing. Freakonomics had a whole thing in their documentary. So statistically, they had, for example, 2 guys, a white guy and a black guy. They sent their resumes out because like one guy had a very traditionally white name. It was like Chris or something or John. And then the black guy had a more ethnic sounding name or black traditionally. And exact same resume, exact same like age, experience, credentials, everything. Chris got a call back. Jamal didn't. So
interesting.
Yeah. And then they changed Jamal's name to like Josh or something, or more common white name, and he got a call back.
That's racist.
Well, yeah. So
racist. Wow.
Yeah. So names are powerful in that sense. It's all attached to like economic stuff.
Does Jay sound white? Should I change my name?
Jay is a pretty like common name.
Should I change it to Josh?
That's the part of the problem, right? That's why Korean people feel like when they go to the States that they have to make a American name, because they're just like, oh, my name's too difficult for them. It will cause too many problems, etc. So like, but it's more powerful obviously if you stick with the name you were given.
Interesting. Okay. I'm actually really curious as to what the statistical studies say about this. A white name is more employable than a black one. That's, and the meme right below it says that's racist.
Because it is.
I agree. This famous but seriously upsetting bit of information comes courtesy of a 2003 study that demonstrated just how much harder it is in America to get employed with the so-called ethnic name. The study are Emily and Greg are more employable than Lakeisha and Jamal. Oh, this is what you were talking about. They sent out resumes in response to wanted ads in Boston and Chicago. The resumes either had a stereotypically white name or a stereotypically black one and were of either respectable quality or high quality. So same exact resume or very similar resume, just different names. And the results were pretty sobering. The whiter names received 50% more callbacks for interviews than the black names. And even if black names were attached to the really stellar resumes, they still received a seriously low level of interest. White names on the awesome resumes got a 30% jump in callbacks. Wow. Scientists pointed out that having a white name equated to having 8 more years of experience on your CV. That's BS.
Right.
That's crazy.
Power of names. I mean, think about it. Even like the power of like choosing the right name for your K-pop group, right? Because like the way people first react to it, it's the first thing they hear. It's the first identifier about you other than maybe looking at you. So people might have like presumptions or prejudices attached to it.
Wow, that's crazy.
Because what were you going to be named originally? Bruno or something?
Like, what were we? Like, Alive?
No. Your name. What was your name
I
going
was
to be?
Brian.
But then did your mom or something want your name to be something else?
No, it's Brian Dennis Park.
Oh. See, what if you went by Dennis? Would your career be different potentially?
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I think Dennis would have been a much better move, career-wise.
You're not too late.
I mean, I could change my name, but I've already learned my lesson from changing my name to Park Jae-hyung to Jae, that people don't know who the hell you are if you change your name mid-career after like you've exposed yourself for the first time. And that kind of traction, it de-escalates the amount of traction that you've gained within your career. So for all of you people who are social influencers or up-and-coming artists, stop changing your name. Stop changing your name.
Just stick to it.
Trust me. A lot of people have tried it within the past decade. I don't think it's worked out for too many people.
Snoop Dogg became Snoop Lion. Did not work out. Now he's back. P. Diddy, Puff Daddy.
Yep.
There you go.
Went back to P. Diddy. Everyone still calls you the same thing because they're so used to it. It's weird. Dumbfounded went to Parker, went back to Dumbfounded.
I never even knew about Parker.
Yeah. But yeah, those are just a couple small examples. And don't change your name. Just stick to what you have. Stick to your guns and you'll be fine. I think that's it for this article. That was actually a really upsetting article.
Eye-opening
And extremely upsetting that people could still, that this is still a thing that could be impacting us.
Yeah.
Could your name have an effect on your success? A 2012 study led by Erwin Newman from Victoria University of Wellington, New Zealand, shows that the easier your name is to pronounce, the more trustworthy people will assume you are. And the reverse is also true. The more complicated your name is, the more untrustworthy you seem. Really?
Because it's foreign. It's this like instinct of people who like are dealt with the unfamiliar.
All right.
You know? As soon as you're presenting something unfamiliar, you're not going to be as comfortable, I guess, with hearing a name that you might have often heard on somebody else that you know and trust.
In 2020, though?
Maybe not in 2020. Maybe not with a modern person who maybe lives in a city or is globalized well and stuff and has been exposed to many cultures. But, you know, you have to remember a lot of people grow up in a much smaller scale surrounding, you know. They're not like you who's in entertainment who got to travel the world and meet all kinds of people, right?
True.
Once again, when you meet with someone or something unfamiliar, it's unfamiliar. It might not be as comfortable. I don't agree. I don't think you should trust less, but you know, it might be because of that small scope of experience.
Interesting. I say 2020 because it says that the study was done in 2012. I can see where they're coming from. And I'm sure if I click on the article and zoom into it and go into the details that they'll be able to convince me. But But for now, I'm gonna reserve my opinion on that. Another point in that article was, what can you do aside from changing your name entirely? You could try using a middle name.
Dennis.
Oh, I could be Dennis on your resume if it's easier to pronounce. Another study by University of Southampton and the University of Limerick, researchers found that people with a middle initial in their name are perceived as more intelligent. If you don't have a middle name, or it's just as complicated, you could also opt to use a nickname on your resume. You could use nicknames on your resume? Isn't that completely unprofessional?
I think it depends on the situation. That really is what you go by. It's not a legal document.
I mean, but if your actual legal name was Christine,
yeah,
and then you put Tina, isn't that Would it really?
It's not unprofessional. I think it's unprofessional maybe to some people if it was like T Money,
okay,
like
obviously,
T-Dog,
but
like.
I'm assuming that even using Tina out of the realm of like content creators, if you're using it to get let's say like you're applying for an accounting position, within a bank, right? Wouldn't that look super unprofessional?
No,
if you didn't use your legal name.
That's just like a short term for a name. Tina itself is already people's actual names. Tina Fey is her full name is like Christine or Christina, but she goes by Tina Fey professionally, and no one blinks an eye.
That's how. Wow, I just don't know. I'm not well versed in this.
There's a difference between a nickname and a stage name. You know.
Oh, so this would be considered a stage name then for your resume?
No, this is a nickname.
It's a nickname.
Stage name is when like Drake calling himself Drake. That's not his actual name.
Oh, excuse me. It's actually Champagne Poppy.
It's a name for the stage.
Excuse you.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Poppy.
Okay. All right, career coach. The power of using a name. Here's some tips for remembering people's names. Have you seen Michael Scott's way of remembering names?
I forget.
Dude, that man is like the most un-PC, like anti-PC man ever. It only worked. His jokes only worked because of the time period that we were living in at that time. But yeah, very interesting way of remembering names, and somehow worked for him.
There you go.
A person's name is to him or her the sweetest and most important sound of any language. Not necessarily. Recently, I was in several situations where I was once again reminded of the power of using someone's name when interacting with them. In one situation, a friend was in rehab in the hospital, not getting particularly great personal attention until his spouse reminded him that he, the patient, had not been very nice to the people who worked there. Do you even know the names of the people who are helping you? She asked. No, why should I learn their names? He replied. She gave him some tips on how just by remembering and learning their names that he might get better care. Sure enough, it helped. I can totally see the validity in that statement. Just by knowing someone's name and constantly like looking them in the eyes when you're conversing with them and saying their names out loud for them. I wouldn't say it's particularly sweet to hear in the ears, but I feel like it does engage another brain cell that wouldn't have been engaged unless their name was unlocked.
Yeah, well, it's just a proof of being like you like respect them as people and their presence, you know? If they're just like service people to you and the only value of them being there is service, then you disrespect them by not being like, you have a name, like you're a person. That's like little things. But in business, that's actually unprofessional. It's like if you are someone who tends to forget names, it can come across as extremely unprofessional and rude.
I should never do business. I'm so bad with names.
Yeah, just get a manager.
Get
a manager.
That's what I
never
need.
talk to anyone ever again.
That's definitely what I need to do.
Like Joan Kim, Joan. She told us, she was like, because she was on Get Real, she said, I literally, as soon as I read an email and it says to whom it may concern, or if they misspell my name, I don't read the message. I trash it.
Oh, really?
Because it's disrespectful. She's like, we're going to do business together and you can't even take the 2 seconds to figure out how to, one, spell my name or know my name. My name's everywhere. The reason you're contacting me is because of like my channel, which has literally my name on it. So if you can't take the 5 seconds to figure that out correctly, then we'll probably won't be able to do business together.
On the flip side, you got to think about how much money she's lost because of that. That's a pride issue.
No, it's not.
I think that's a pride issue.
That's not.
I wouldn't bat an eye if Drake was like, hey, Ish.
Well,
hey,
she said, well, she joked. If it was Chanel writing, she would say, it's actually Joan. Hi, nice to do business with you. But you know what I'm talking about?
Now that makes sense.
Chanel would never. You know what I'm talking about? Like, those higher brands would never.
Let's not say, they wouldn't make that mistake.
They would never because they are there where they are because they're highly reputable, right?
Right.
And they probably hold their employees to a high degree.
I've had a lot of situations where actually people would misspell my name in business interactions, and I never really saw a problem with it. I just thought, I never even corrected them sometimes.
Well, you should have more self-worth.
I'm not worth much, guys. 1.5 million in contracts to buy me out.
Have more self-worth, because I've had people blatantly just misspell my name, and yet they wrote my email, which has my name in it. So
Damn, that angers you?
well, to me, it's just more like, oh, you're probably dumb. I can't do business with you. You're gonna mess up something. If you mess that up,
Trust
I'm not gonna
factor.
trust you with other things.
I see. That's completely different, I guess. I guess that wouldn't be a pride thing. That would be a trust factor. And that's just you. That's like you seeing a foreshadowing of how our business curriculum is going to go.
Well, it's literally, let's say your name was written on your jacket in huge letters. My name is Jae. And I looked at you and I was like, hey, Brian. I mean, your name is Brian, but you know what I'm talking about? I'm like, hey, Kevin. And you're like, it's Jae. And I was like, cool. Ananyway.
Okay, see,
you know
that's different. That's different.
That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Yes, that's what it feels like. If it's right there, it's so easy to check, take the 2 seconds to check. It's a indicator, if you will, of how much they actually care about the other person that they're speaking to.
Okay, I kind of agree, but I kind of don't at the same time. I think we'll just agree to disagree.
I don't know. I think I have a little bit more professional decorum than you do.
I think you might as well. I also agree. I'm not well versed in the professional world.
You'll get there. You're learning.
I'm just starting to write business emails.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Well, let me look them over, because I really don't want you to write it wrong.
And I do a lot of to whomever this may concern. I do a lot of those.
It's easier to mess it up than to get it right. Okay? There you go.
You heard it here, folks. Diane, the business philanthropist.
I wish I didn't consider you a friend. I would be much less taptape if I didn't care about your well-being. If I didn't care about your well-being, I'd be silent.
Okay. Anyway, that's interesting. And I do agree with that, with what the wife responded with. Is it's also an interesting fact that I hadn't considered before, that social workers, a lot of people take them for granted. Because of the fact that you hire someone to do a job for you and you pay for their services doesn't mean that they aren't human beings and that they don't deserve to be treated like such. I completely agree with that. At a hospital, you would definitely try to go out of your way to respond and engage more socially with the people that you're working with. How I've gone to so many times where I've gotten a blood test taken and then a nurse would poke me like 6 times and then not find the blood vessel and be like, oh, my bad, I'll be back. I'm just like, and then, but you keep the decorum, and then you get close to them, and eventually they're like, oh, my bad, sorry about that. And then there's an increase, you know what I'm saying? So even if she still takes 6 times the next time, there's a mutual respect that's grown within that bond, okay?
Maybe it'll only take 5 times next time.
I think that's invalid. Your skill level does not increase in a craft due to respect between the two people of the craft.
Might be focused though.
Maybe she wasn't focused.
She's like this, like.
Maybe, very possible. But I don't know. Respect social workers. Respect people that you hire to have work done for you. Because at the end of the day, even though you are paying them for a job, and though you are entitled to a good job, you are not entitled to treat them like they are beneath you, because they are not. You are basically coworkers for a day or for however long that project is working.
That's beautiful, Jay.
We're going to move on to our question segment. And question number 1 comes from Reki Girl. What's Jae and AleXa's perspective on how do colors affect our emotions? How do colors affect our emotions? I know that, especially because I'm so involved in the Twitch community now, I've realized that in a lot of backgrounds, people will switch the color of the LED lights to affect the emotional state of their viewers. So if they're playing a scary game, they'll turn off the lights. If they are playing something more tech-oriented or something more sci-fi, they'll turn it blue. I feel like colors can affect and invigorate certain emotions and very specific parts of the brain that should be correlated to like specific emotions, right? I'm sure there's a bunch of studies that say
color therapy is a thing.
Color therapy? What is that?
Color therapy is like literally they like show you colors as like a form of therapy to induce certain kind of emotions or feelings.
My ADHD would scream.
There might be one for focus.
Okay,
We'll look
guys.
at the color for focus.
Okay, listen. Okay. I have been tried to be treated for it. Okay. When I was a kid, my parents used to sit me down and take me to this one facility where you sit down in front of this Pac-Man in an endless loop and it never ends. And they have all these wires on you and you're supposed to like look at the screen. It drives you crazy. It literally drives me crazy. I think that's where I got half my anxiety from 6 months of session with that. I don't know. It may be effective for other people. Wasn't for me.
Well, guess what?
What?
I looked it up. The color to promote concentration and focus is green. Moving on.
That's great. Anyway, yeah, I'm sure colors do have an effect on our emotions, and that's something that maybe we should investigate further in a separate episode. We should investigate further.
We can.
Second question. This one's from Luminosora. What is your MBTI type, and do you believe in that? What's your MBTI type?
ENFP, campaigner.
It's a campaigner.
Campaigner apparently is someone who likes to promote other people's ideas.
Oh.
And like make stuff happen for other people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I am INTPT.
Okay.
The last T is turbulent, right?
The T?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, like you're very like shaky.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. INTPT is logician. And I think I'm very logical about things. Sometimes my emotions do get the better half of me, but I feel like I try to stay pretty logical.
You're pretty impulsive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, no. Logicians are the anti-impulsivity.
And yet you're impulsive.
I'm impulsive about things that I've thought about.
Uh-huh.
No, sometimes I'm impulsive, yeah.
It's okay.
Sometimes I'm impulsive. I accept that. I'm a human being.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We love that.
Yeah. You're supposed to be impulsive.
Beautiful. That's how you turn the page. There you go.
Exactly. And that wraps up our segment for today. So send in our questions, send in more questions for us with hashtag HDIGH. And let us know what should our next big question to search for be. And you can send this to us on our outlets at Instagram and Twitter at DDive Studios, youtube.com/Dive Studios, youtube.com/DivePods for full podcasts. And also we have a TikTok at DDive Studios. Don't forget to subscribe and to review this podcast. And hopefully we will see you guys on the next episode. Later. Ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy that episode?
If you did, you can always listen to the full episodes on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
And also, do not forget to subscribe and follow this channel. Also, turn on notifications.